Benchmark, they're the one who drafted our subdivision development ordinance that y'all adopted a couple years.
Let's call this meeting to order.
Alderman McHenry.
Here.
Alderman Williams.
Here.
Alderman Dennis.
Here.
Alderman Stevenson.
Here.
Alderman Boyd.
Here.
Alderman Knight.
Here.
Alderman Gill.
Present.
Alderman Stevenson, will you pray for us this evening?
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day that you've given us today, dear Lord, and the cool weather. Father, we just thank you for your love, your grace, and your mercy. Lord, we thank you for many blessings that you bestow upon each one of us. Dear Lord, I ask that you lead us and guide us in this meeting tonight. Be with us as we go through it. Ask that you do.
I'll do the pledge for us this evening. Attention, salute, pledge. This time I'll have Chief Burks approach the podium for acknowledgments.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
First, I want to thank Ms. Kathy Deere and the Chamber for, and all the business owners for pouring all these blessings on us in these times when we're able to recognize our people. This is a cool part of my job where I get to talk good about our people. This month's Fireman of the Month is Ridge Reed. Ridge has been with us for a little over 3 years. He's a hardworking young man. He's one of a couple of pairs of brothers that we had that work for us, which is pretty neat to see. And he's got an epic mustache, as you see in the picture there. But Ridge is he's testing for promotion right now, so he's working hard there. He's always first in line to help young guys when they need help. He's just a testament of what we love to show and have as firemen here in Pearl. So this month's Firefighter of the Month is Firefighter Ridge Reed.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. Also on acknowledgements this month, we had the Employee of the Month for the city, and it was Carl Kibbe in Community Development. As you all know, and some of the audience out there may be viewing that Carl actually retired as our fire chief several years ago, but he came back, he missed the city, and so we put him to work, and I'm gonna let Brad talk about Carl a little bit.
Yeah, Carl, when he come to our department, he was a big add to our department. He does our commercial code enforcement for us, wears a lot of hats in the department too. He fills in, answering phones, doing inspections, because he's got a knowledgeable background in inspections in the commercial. And so like I say, works hard for us, and we appreciate everything he does. So, takes a lot of pride in what he does for the city.
Thank you, Brad.
All right,
Congratulations, Carl.
Approval of consent agenda items. All items under this heading will be considered to be approved with one motion and one vote. If further discussion is desired on any item, it will automatically be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered as a general business item.
Make a motion to approval.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second to approve?
Second.
Any discussion about the consent agenda? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries.
Public hearings. Number one, consider the request by Lorenzo Welch for a conditional use permit to allow him to operate a home-based inflatable business at 367 Mariana Drive, Pearl, Mississippi 39208.
Is Mr. Welch here this evening?
I just saw him at the door on that side. I don't know where he went. I think
Okay. We're delayed just a little bit for people that are viewing the board meeting. We're waiting on Mr. Welch, who has a public hearing to come into the building. Okay, Mr. Welch, you mind approaching the podium up here, please? Yes, sorry. No, you're fine, man. Good. I think you and I spoke on the phone, and you've spoken to Brad that in order to.
Hey, Jake.
Hey, how you doing, man?
All right,
Good
all
to see you this evening.
Honor to meet you, sir.
Yeah, honored to meet you. You have a home business that you would like to operate, and our ordinance requires someone to have a conditional use before operating a business from their home. So
Yes,
you
sir.
submitted an application to community development, so you're here tonight. And just to give you a little bit more knowledge, we're in a public hearing now. So if you could tell us a little bit about your business,
Yes, sir.
and what do you think that you could possibly do to make it less intrusive in the neighborhood? Because I think that's what a lot of people are concerned about.
Yes, sir. So, sorry for my tardiness, y'all. Sincerely apologize. My name is Lorenzo Welch, owner, operator of Memories Inflatables. We work around everywhere in Rankin County, but I feel like I'm really responsible for a lot of homes to provide inflatables for the community. Basically, what I wanted to do is, since I'm fairly new, I started in January. I want to most definitely be able to provide clean service for my customers. So, basically, cleaning my inflatables in my backyard, in a sense, away from the front yard. I was told not to do that, and I was unaware of that, and I apologize for that. And so I would love to have the opportunity to clean them in my backyard. That's pretty much it, but pretty much a long story on that.
you've got a fairly large backyard, though, don't you, Lorenzo?
Yes,
It's
sir.
pretty big. I've seen it. I've been by there thousands of times. So your backyard's pretty big.
Yes, sir. I do. I have a storage shed as well.
There's a wooden fence around there, too?
Yes, sir.
Got access from the side of the road there on Marianne, too, though, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I just want to be able to have the opportunity to blow them up and clean them, if it's okay with y'all. You know, just love to have it.
How many people live at your house?
I have me, my wife, and 4 kids.
How many drivers?
Drivers?
Yeah.
Me, my wife. I also have 2 company vehicles. I also do pest control as well. And so 2 of my vehicles my wife owns as well. So it's a couple of vehicles.
I know a lot of times I go by there, it's like 5 cars parked in the front yard.
Yes, sir. We're in the process. Hopefully around the fall time, I can move some things in the backyard. For example, my trailer, I can put it in the backyard, so therefore more access to put my vehicles in my carports and away from the road, in a sense.
And how do you get access to your backyard?
I can go through the sides. I got like 3 ways to get in, basically around the side of the house, left and right, and then you can also go around. Since my house is on the corner, I have access around the side as well.
Yeah, the double gate on Marianne.
and it's a double gate, so it's able to fit,
I was just thinking
vehicles.
about if you're facing the house on the left-hand side, it doesn't look like a very wide.
No, the gate on the very inside is double.
Yes, sir. So right by the creek, off of Pemberton, it's a creek. There's a gate access right there, literally on the side.
I know I've just gotten a lot of complaints about all your cars parked on the grass in your front yard.
Yes, sir. And I've heard, most definitely, the complaints, and we're working hard to, be in a position to move them. I've been told to move them. Brad, I think, Mr. Brad, he's told me, to move them, and I'm in a position now, so I'm trying to move them in a sense. I do have, I think, one vehicle in the, yard now, but I'm in the process of moving, in the process of selling one that is moving them. So, I'm trying to put myself in the opportunity to where the value doesn't go down or anything like that.
Brad, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Just, like I said, you know, we approached Mr. Welch several months back, you know. Our office had received numerous complaints on, you know, the infiltrator was being blown up in the yard, that sort of thing. Cars parking in the yard. But this, just to kind of give it, you know, I guess the viewing audience will understand the way our ordinance reads, you know, as far as home occupations. Section 406, section 406.01, display and storage. No storage or display of materials, goods, supplies, or equipment related to the operation of a home-based operation shall be visible from the outside of any structure located on the premises. I mean, that being said, you know, due to the neighbors calling, that sort of thing, it's just not a look that, you know, citizens want to see. You know, I would recommend that we stay consistent with our ordinance. That would be my recommendation.
Okay.
I mean, it's something that, like I say, you moved it to the backyard, and we still get phone calls. So like, we just moved it to the backyard, you know? I don't know if it's a neighbor, you know, going out in their backyard looking and saying, hey, there's an inflatable, you know?
Or they're like 30 foot tall.
Right.
Okay. Mr. Welch, you have anything else that you'd like to say?
I just appreciate y'all time, and whatever decision y'all make, I'm gonna respect it and move forward, because I wanna not just represent myself, I'm representing my company, and I wanna make sure I be responsible, follow rules, and, you know, just make sure my company is represented to the fullest.
All right, thank you, sir. If you'd like to have a seat.
Yes,
Is
sir.
anyone here
Thank
to
you.
speak in opposition to this? If not, what's the pleasure at the board at this time? Is there a motion to approve or disapprove?
I make a motion to deny the request.
All right, there's two motions on the floor. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
The ayes have it. Motion carries. Conditional use is denied at this time.
Number 2, consider the request by Anthony Wyndham for a variance permit of 238 River Drive to allow him to build a carport with a 20-foot front setback instead of 30 foot as the ordinance requires.
Mr. Wyndham, will you approach the podium, please?
Hey, everybody. I talked to you, I know you. When I knew you, I went to school with you. But that's not the point.
Might be kin somewhat.
You're doing great, and I hadn't seen you since you come by and got my vote. What was that? How many years ago was that?
Well, I didn't have an opponent last election, but that could change this
Hey,
election.
that's awesome.
That's right, so,
Well,
Right.
anyway, I bought 2 nice vehicles, and I have a huge pine tree above my driveway. And I would like to build a 20 by 20 that's not connected to the house with no power, made out of wood from antebellum home from 1850s. Taken out because that's what I do. I restore houses. So I kept all the extra wood they was going to throw away. I'm going to build a carport. And the problem is, Mr. Brad told me that it needs to be 30 feet from the road, but it's only going to be 20 feet from the road if it's actually going to cover up my vehicles. And also, Mr. Casey, I talked to him, he said, as long as I put shingles on top of it and match the house, then
Right, I mean,
we might
typically
we might be all right.
we try to be consistent of using the same materials.
Yeah,
What you
that's
would in
cool.
your home.
No big deal. I deal with this every day. Renovation is my game.
Brad, do you want to add anything to this conversation for this public hearing?
Yeah, like I said, if y'all look right here, he's probably, 40 off the street right now. Like I say, what he's building, it's not gonna obstruct any views, coming out of the driveway, from a neighboring property. Like I say, he's using materials that are conforming with the, residential neighborhood, and it's not something he's asking for a variance on, just because it's money-wise or metal or something like that, So, I would recommend the variance or.
Okay. Does the board have any more questions for Mr. Wyndham? Okay, Mr. Wyndham, you want to have a seat and wait?
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, sure.
It is a 4-car driveway, so the 20, another 20, it would hold 4 vehicles, but I only want to cover up 2.
I understand.
From sap in the pine truck.
I got you.
It's bad.
All right. Is anyone here to speak in opposition to this variance being granted? Anyone in the audience? All right, if not, this time I'd ask the pleasure of the board. Is there a motion?
Second.
All right, there's 2 motions on the floor. Any further discussion regarding this? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Appears that the ayes have it at this time. Motion carries.
Number 3, consider amending the official zoning map and the official zoning language of the city of Pearl, Mississippi.
Recently, we looked into several things as far as our downtown or midtown area, changing some of the zoning, and we had Mr. Barber put together a presentation for us with the Orion Group. At this time, I'm going to have you come forward. I realize that you talked in the work session about this, sir, and Stacy, if there's some additional comments that you'd like to make after Mr. Barber, that'd be appreciated. Thank you for being here tonight, Mr. Barber.
Yes, Mayor and Board, good evening. Refer you to the report that you have in front of you. The project that you engaged us to proceed with was to provide a zoning code that would implement the Main Street roadmap for the Main Street program for Pearl. So you created your Main Street program, I think about 2 years ago, year and a half ago, and typically once a Main Street program begins, the Main Street organization will come behind it and assist the local board in establishing a plan for its activities. And that Main Street district is what we're sitting in right now, and from Old Brandon up to the highway, and then the 2 streets right and left considered the Main Street district. And a part of that vision was generating essentially what would be a downtown Pearl, a traditional downtown with buildings like what we see here, and this is out of the Main Street roadmap. So we took which by the way can't be achieved now under C2 zoning, and the entirety of this area is zone C2, by the way. We were talking about the residential area, it's zone C2 as well. But you can't build a building like that necessarily as shown on the screen. So we took the roadmap and we crafted a form-based zoning district to achieve what you see in the presentation there, the slide on the screen. Mayor, I don't know how much detail I should go in. I don't know if you want the same detail as we had before, but
I think an overview of why we're doing what we need to do in the downtown area. You gotta get density.
yes.
And there's different types of buildings, so the zoning would be obviously different. We're trying to preserve the residential homes behind us,
Yes,
because it's unique for the district like that. It's not gonna have adverse effect on their property values. As a matter of fact, it increase their property values because the zoning is a higher use, because of the type of buildings that would be required around them. That's mainly what I would like for you to touch on, and maybe provide examples of buildings that people might be familiar with across the state or maybe in other popular cities that do the same type of zoning.
very good, and you stated it very well. I'm not sure I can do better than that. We'll start off by comparing the existing zoning you have in C2. C2, as this area is, and as the corner is zone C2 over here, requires deep setbacks, lots of parking, and it's almost exclusively concerned with use, how the property is used. When we get into generating a town center district or a town center, trying to zone to generate buildings as you see displayed on the square, it requires a different kind of approach. It will not be produced under the zones that you have in place now. And the approach that is required is to be concerned about the use, yes, but also generate a zoning district that will essentially require the buildings to be pulled up to the street. We have to front them on the street. And then we put parking in behind, to the side and to the rear of the buildings. That's the way conventional downtowns are constructed. And then also the mix of uses. So in the example you see on the screen there, that may be retail on the downstairs, but as we move up, we get offices and perhaps lofts up above for a true mix of uses in there. But it's not just that type of building. So in the Midtown District, we have essentially three character areas in Pearl's Midtown Town Center District. It is this mixed-use corner. Can you show the map, the red? Who's doing the slides? I don't know where. Go to the, keep going. Down. To the one more, back up. You want to go to the map right there. Okay, so in the orange area with on the east side, on the south and on the east side of the district, that would be configured for mixed-use buildings of the type that we showed in that slide previously. In the red area to the north, that's a sub-district that accommodates the conventional commercial. You have it established there, but it is improved. The streetscapes are improved, and that is an improved district. And then in the yellow area is a residential component that provides a residential base to support all the other. And so that's the way the sub-districts break out. So you ask for examples across we'll use our state. We're working in a community now that has no downtown. They are very aggressively pursuing establishing a downtown, and I think they're going to be successful. It's Diamond Head. They're covered over, they have a small downtown area, but it's just sprawled. It's just conventional stuff. Then we did a planning process, and the community overwhelmingly said we need a downtown, an activity area, a place for people to come, and they envisioned something not unlike what you have right here. Crafted a zoning district which they've adopted, and they now have applicants coming forward, and they have to build to to meet that standard. So that's one that's up and coming. One that is existing, and has been infilled is right nearby, Bay St. Louis. It has a downtown, conventional downtown compact. We could point to your neighbor next door, some of the downtown building in Brandon, that type of environment. There's an example up in Ridgeland, and I can't remember the name of the intersection or the development, but it's right there at the railroad track in the, sorry? Right, that kind of environment. That's a newer one. That's recently been constructed, and so that's what you're aiming at, and that's Pearl's potential, quite frankly. I mean, you've got property here that's very well located, and you control it, is the great thing. The city's, in a lot of ways, controlling it in more ways than one. So, am I hitting it the right?
Yeah, no, you're
hitting the right
on point.
spot. Those are a few examples, yes.
So,
Now, if we go further away, the example that was used in your roadmap, when I'm not quite sure how they got it, but we did a downtown code for Helena, Montana, and they have implemented, and those buildings are getting constructed according to code, and it's reinforcing that downtown.
So right now, we're in the demo process. Our Public Works Director, we're doing some things in-house, self-performing the work, taking things back to turf, old walking track, football field. Then we have this other hard corner on Beardman at Old Brandon, turning it back to turf. Setting the field fertile with the approval of these items here, this particular zoning, in order to move forward to have the same type of look that what you just discussed, right?
Yes, sir.
That would be the requirement. Something
Mayor,
else,
Not meaning to interrupt you, but you mean grass, not turf. Like
Yeah, I'm
today's
sorry.
term.
that's
People
right,
think
turf.
that
Yeah, I
they
don't
are
want that to be
official, right.
misconstrued. We're not putting any, AstroTurf out here, by the way, no field turf, no. When I say turf, I mean green space and I mean grass, that's right, Johnny Mac. But, so with that being said, I do want to pick your brain because I'm trying to set some level of expectation. This is some heavy lifting too, for a city. I mean, but some of these things have to be in place in order to, see the production, see things go up. What's the fastest you've seen, like something like this created, come out of the ground? I know Stacy's been to some Main Street conferences. I mean, it takes a little time to do this, and I'm just curious for myself. I'd just like for you to.
So, it takes time, generally speaking. You can kind of hit the win column with an easy win occasionally, but that's not the rule. The rule is it will take multiple years. 5, 6, 8 years is kind of the time horizon you're looking at. However, that said, when we were here compiling the district itself and doing the on-the-ground work with our team, we interviewed 4 different investors, and described what we were doing, and they were all in. In fact, I've gotten follow-up phone calls. When are y'all moving forward with that? Now, not just the zoning district, but it's the whole package. The zoning is a piece of it, and the zoning's not going to make it happen. But as you aptly described, it sets the context and the tone for what you expect to happen. So time, if you at the earliest, a couple of years out at the very earliest, which would be uncommon. 4, 6, 8, 10 years out is a time horizon to think about it, but we need to think about the space over the long term. Pearl's going to be here in 20 years. It's going to be here in one form or another. It's going to be here. How do you want it to be? Now is the absolute time to set the stage for how you want it to be.
You mentioned something a while ago, and I'm gonna wrap this up. We're trying to inform the audience here. We
Right.
have citizens that watch this board meeting, and so we want to make sure that we're pushing out the right information, because it's hard to get information out. As much as you try, we have several different avenues that we do it, but we want to make sure that we're pushing the right information. So some of the things that you've seen consistent with other downtown-type projects has been some incentives involved. We talked about the Avalon.
Yes.
Also, I probably will also be providing a piece of information to the board to later consider as a TIF within this particular district, and they choose projects as they go to say yes or no. Would you say that on other projects that you've worked on, when you provide those incentives up front, it's the catalyst that makes things occur quicker?
One of the most striking projects we worked on recently that's involved the revival of just about a dead downtown was Pascagoula. It is a completely different environment, and there's three ingredients to it. One ingredient is the right thinking about how the design, how the place should look and feel from a design standpoint, which is much of what you're talking about here. The second ingredient is the incentives, the manner in which it is facilitated. So they have the benefit of Ingalls and Chevron and other big, really big players, and I don't know who the big players are around here, or the small players. But they infuse some incentive money. They were determined to bring that downtown back. And so there was some incentive money to do various things. They've got some funding from the energy company there, Mississippi Power. They have a downtown redevelopment authority that deals with vacant parcels of land. They've been very successful with it. TIF, they've used TIF districts and several tax incentives. So it's the combination of the incentives, the right idea about the design, and the willingness to make those deals happen. So those three ingredients, yes.
Okay.
I hope I didn't over-answer that.
We're still in the public hearing, it's not just discussion, so I just wanted to make sure that the board didn't have anything that they want to discuss further. There was some mention in the work session about continuing this so the alderman can digest it. Okay. Second. Discussion?
Is your form of your motion to the next meeting? 10:30.
I just respectfully ask that the alderman review the plan for the next meeting. Make sure that you're informed. We've been working on this for quite some time, so.
Alderman Hill, we found an error in the draft, and so we need to go over it and make sure that there's not more issues like that.
Yeah, that error was, it was just a typo error for the presentation. Yeah. So, okay, we have two motions on the floor, so the October 3rd meeting? Well, we're not voting for it. I understand that, but we're not voting to approve it. Just to satisfy the state statute, is there anybody speaking opposition to this tonight? All right, if not, there's two motions on the floor to continue this to October 3rd. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. This will come to the portion of our board meeting where we generally close in honor of someone's name. We recently had Mr. James Netherland pass. He's a longtime citizen of our city. He's originally from Lawrence County, moved here a long time ago. He had a CPA firm right here on Old Brandon Road, and I believe he lived on Oak Park. But he was one of our first aldermen, and he recently passed away. And
Instrumental in this city getting founded.
that's right. He's a founding father of the city. I believe Casey obviously lived in your district, and a lot of people know Mr. Netherland. So our hearts go out to his family. We pray for peace at this time and comfort, and I know that his family is grieving. But with that being said, is there a motion to dismiss in his name? All right, there's two motions on the floor. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? This meeting's adjourned. Y'all have a good evening.